Hi everyone, thank you for joining me to another session of AppScan Tuesdays. This is episode 22nd already, and this time, unlike previous sessions, I'm flying solo. I wanted to walk you through the AppScan on Cloud policies to learn the great value that you get from them in the process of onboarding new teams into application security testing, into maturing them, through helping them fixing the items that you care most about in order to make your application more secured, which is the end goal of any application security testing program. So let's just jump through the demo. Okay, you can see my screen now. I have a lot of applications. I have 48 applications here, a lot of applications with many issues. Where do I start? And this is where policies helps me evaluate where to start. Usually most people won't have that many applications, most users, but the administrator, the business owners may have a large number of applications. So for them, we have introduced at least the first step of policies, a way to measure. There are two columns here that I find very valuable: the compliant and the associated policies. And what they tell me is that all the applications that someone associated a policy to, the name of the policy will show up here. And if the application is compliant with the policy, it will be marked here as compliant or incompliant. So we have a few that are compliant, but not many, right? At the same time, we have these that don't have any application associated with them, but they're still out of compliant. How is that? Well, because if no application, if no policy is associated, if you have even one issue that is opened, you will be out of compliant. And this is what I want to show you about. What is so great about the policies? I really enjoy using the business units. It allows me to measure to look at the business unit that I care about. If I don't use any business unit, I will show, or if I'm not taking advantage of this attribute of an application. And just for those who are not familiar, just jumping into this one, business unit is here, right? So for our case, I will look at the commerce business unit, a very important business unit that we have in my demo environment. And as you can see, this application, someone is already trying to take care of it with all sorts of policies. The others, none. We're out of compliance in all applications except for those that didn't find any issues in their scans. So naturally, we are not in a good place. But let's just even look at this, my demo application. So my demo application have 220 total issues. Out of them, 205 are non-compliant. How come not 220 if I don't have any policy associated? That is because if I go to all issues to see the issues for this application, and I'm sorry that it takes a lot of time to load. I have a really bad Wi-Fi connection at the moment. But if I go to all the issues, I can see that I'll use the filters to make it easy on me. I'll see that I have issues that are already marked as noise. And if they are marked as noise, then no problem. Someone already triaged them. And that's why we have 205 new issues out of 205 non-compliant out of the 220. Okay, so I'll ignore this. And now I'm a realistic person. So I don't want my developers to go and see that suddenly they have 205 out of compliant issues. QA manager, business owner, whomever, they will say, I can't fix that. If you want me to fix this, you're not getting any new feature for the next 2 quarters or 3 quarters or 4 quarters. We need to understand how to start. There is a term called maturity model, the security maturity model. And that means that in order to be secured, in order to have really secured application, you need to start to have realistic goals that you need to discuss with the owner of this application, and set those goals and have them incrementally added. So from policy perspective, we want to support that also. I'll go to the policy view and I want to associate a policy to that application. And you know what? I want to associate the policy to all the application in commerce. So as you can see, I can filter by application name, by asset group, or by business unit. I will filter by the business unit. And for all the application, except from Demonox, which someone already did the effort of setting a policy, for all of these, I will start at the very baseline, at the very minimum. And how do you start with a baseline? By selecting a baseline policy. A baseline policy means that from the date that I'm defining here and the time that I'm defining here, any new issue that is found after this date is not okay and will break the compliance. So I've associated this baseline policy to all my application under commerce, and I will go back to my applications, still filtered by commerce, and suddenly all of them are in compliance, except from Demonox, of course. Is it good? No, but it's a start. And tomorrow, when my developers develop something new and they run a scan, they will make sure that they're not introducing any new vulnerabilities, because if they will be out of compliance. Let's say that my developers, and this is not the case, but let's say that my developers are really not great in security and they introduce a lot of new vulnerabilities. So even the policy that I defined might be too harsh on them. And again, we're talking about baby steps with the maturity model. So instead of using a baseline policy, I want to define a custom policy that will say any new issue, and I will use this. So I'm using the same date, 2020, 09, 27. And it's not just any new issue, but also any new high issue. So I will call this step 1 policy. And for me, it means that any new issue coming after September 27th, any new high issue will break the compliance. I'm creating this policy. Oops, I created it already. Step 1, and I'm associating it with all my applications. Now, I have step 1 policy and baseline. Doesn't make sense really to have both of them, because step 1 is a subset of baseline. So I'll ignore it for now. You know what? I'm going to do my applications again. I'm looking at the list of commerce. Nothing changed here. I'm going to my demo app, and again, for my demo app, the developers are really starting their way, and even this is hard on them. I will disable the baseline policy. And now only step 1 policy applies. If they run a scan after the current state, if they run a scan and they find a medium severity, they are going to be still in compliance. If they run a scan and find new high issue, they will be out of compliance. This is going to be the first step for me. Then later, when the team feels they got a grip on it, I will enable this one also. And then all the medium or minor issues that were found after September 27th will also break the compliance. Those will be the really basic steps for me to get the team on board and start using application security scanning. Now, the team matured and we are ready for the next step. We are saying that these applications are related to commerce. So what makes most sense to associate the policy for them is the PCI compliance policy. And I'll associate PCI compliance to all of my applications now. All of the commerce application. Going back to my application, suddenly all of them are not in a good state. So I will go to my demo app and I will simply disable the PCI compliance policy. I'll keep it associated because for me it will be easy to measure once I'm ready. Once I want to commit to do the PCI compliance, I will turn it on, see that I have 182 non-compliant issues, and I will know that I don't want to commit to that yet. Maybe I need another step in the way. So first we had the step 1 policy, then the baseline. I need something in between. So I'm going to add another policy. And again, I'm going to use the custom policies. I want to create a policy that will be only SQL injections and SQLi only, or maybe new SQLi only. I don't know how to create it, so I'll go to the documentation, and I can see that for custom policies I have all sorts of statuses that I can use. I can use start date, as we did in min severity, but I can also use CWE. So we know that CWE 89 and 90 will cover the SQL injections for me. I'm going back to this. I'm going to use the sample that I had before. Again, 2020, and I only use this because I want to do it in steps. I'm not looking to find all the SQL injections. I'm looking to find only SQL injections that are new. Oops, sorry for the indentation. Only SQL injection issues that are new, and I can do this. But in order to show you in this example how it will look with only SQL injections, I will have that policy only. So again, let me clean this completely so we will have something working easily that makes sense. I'm going to the custom policy. I'm going to copy the CWE policy that talks about SQL injection. Going to copy it now here. Because I changed it, I will call it SQLi only and not new SQLi only. Press create. I created this application, SQL only, associating it with all the application except from Demonox because someone is taking care of it. I'm associating it and all of them as SQLi. Going to my applications again, looking at my demo app, which I disabled PCI compliance on, and I can see that I have 55 non-compliant issues. All of them, based on what we tried, are SQL only. Going to all issues, I can see that I will only see issues. If I use the filter, I will only see issues that have that are related to SQL injections. As you can see here, only SQL injections because as I'm setting non-compliant, I will only see SQL injections. Here you go. All the cross-site scripting and whatnot disappeared from here. It's important to note that again, I can go to the policy, I can enable, disable, what makes sense for me. What also is important to know that the plugins that we use, if you're using the IDE plugins, for example, the Visual Studio or Eclipse or IntelliJ, and you choose to load results from the scan, you will only see the results that are out of compliance. You're not going to see all the results, and that is on purpose. We want the developers to be exposed to the issues that we, the business owners, security expert, whomever decides they should care about, and by that control the flow and not scare them off. I hope you found this demo valuable and maybe you learned something new and how you can use the policies indeed. If you have any topic that you want to see in this show, if you have a guest or you are a guest that you want to attend the show, please put your name in the comments or just reach out to me directly through LinkedIn. I'll be happy to have guests even outside of the AppScan team or from the AppScan team, of course. So thank you everyone, and until next week, bye-bye.